press record, first job, and then share the screen. Let's get going. Right, okay, good to go. Semana 15. Weeks are flying by. Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a lección 15 de la clase de Español Plus. Ya es febrero. ¿Quiénes saben la fecha?
That's dos.
Ah, es el martes 2 de febrero. Sí. ¿Qué tenemos esta semana? Número dos. We're just doing just a wee bit of pronouns. I thought after overdosing on pronouns last week, if we went cold turkey, you'd all be suffering withdrawal symptoms. So we've just got a couple this week, and then we got our books back and a bit of homework to discuss before and after. So let's kick on. We had some homework last week. How did folk find the homework? It wasn't very long, was it? It was just a couple of exercises, and I think they were all fairly straightforward. The direct object pronouns are pretty easy, aren't they? I think we always understood those fairly well, so I imagine everybody did pretty well at this. Let's just run through them though to make sure everybody understands. I want to eat the pizza. Fine. I want to eat it. Quiero comerla. So we got two verbs there, haven't we? To want and to eat. So the first one gets conjugated, the second one doesn't. And because the second one isn't conjugated, you can hook the pronoun at the end of the verb. I think it's okay to say la quiero comer, but I think most people would say quiero comerla. It's easy to say. Bill hits the ball. We use the verb golpear to strike. Bill la golpea. Ball is a feminine noun, of course. La pelota. So Bill la golpea. And because we've only got one verb in the sentence, the verb's conjugated and the pronoun goes before the conjugated verb. Same with this one, really. She hates you, and the conversation is between two friends. So te odia. Te odia. Again, the pronoun has to go before the verb. You may want to say ella te odia if for clarification. But we assume that there's been a conversation going on before this is spoken, so that you've got some context. They are going to see us. Again, eos if you need it. Van a vernos. Now here we've got two verbs. The first one, ir, is conjugated. The second one, to see, there, isn't. So we hook the pronoun at the end. Van a vernos. Do you remember her? To a friend. So we use recuerdas, to remember, and la recuerdas, you remember her. To, if you want to clarify. the rest of them. I know the address. I know it. Address is feminine. La dirección. So we can simply say la sé, la sé, or yo la sé if you want to emphasize it. Jamie has the pen. Convert it to Jamie has it. Now, two options here, because two words for pen. I think a pluma is a fountain pen from feather, I guess, and bolígrafo is a biro, I think. So we've got el bolígrafo and la pluma. So depending on which one we choose, Jamie la tiene or Jamie lo tiene. Manuel doesn't want the pizza. Manuel doesn't want it. Pizza, feminine. So Manuel no la quiere. And the pronoun goes before the negative and the verb. So it's not la no quiere or no quiere la. It's no la quiere. Jorge has the car. Jorge has it. Jorge lo tiene. Anna eats the candies. Anna eats them. Anna los come.
I have a query on that, Eric.
Yeah.
I looked at Spanish Dick, and the last one, Ana los come, which I had and you've got there, they said Ana se los come. Now I could understand why it would be se los, because it might probably be ley los. But why would they put ley los or subsequently se los together? Why do you need both of those at the end there?
No, this came from Spanish Dict, so they're not being very consistent.
No, I couldn't. Because they've got it in the preceding sentence. It's they say Ana se come los caramelos.
So that again, Ana se
come los caramelos. I would have put ley or les.
Yeah, they've got an indirect object pronoun.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's a passive sentence.
Well, it's saying who's eating them, isn't it? So
yeah. So I didn't understand it anyway.
Yeah.
Don't use Spanish Dick.
It's Spanish Dict, actually.
Yeah, I realise.
Have you been using your Spanish Dick again?
I probably meant Spanish Dick in this context.
Well, in the because I stole this section about. No, I didn't. I stole this from. Is that annoying Australia? The Spanish guy, wasn't it? This wasn't from Spanish.
Yeah, Gringo Spanish.
Gringo Spanish. Yeah. I think Anna eats them. Anna los come makes sense to me. Anyway, okay. Sorry, I can't give you a direct object answer to that.
Are they using it as reflexive, Eric? Say come. Are they using it like reflexive?
No, because if Anna was eating herself,
yeah,
or they were eating themselves, you could, but Anna wasn't eating herself, wasn't she?
Cannibalistic.
No.
Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. You get one problem solved and you think of another. That's the trouble with Spanish, isn't it? It just goes on and on. So the other part of the exercise we had from the Spanish guy was to find the direct object and the indirect object in the sentences, and Tom buys her a gift. Direct object's the gift, the indirect object is her. She sold him a ring. Him is the indirect object, Mr. Neo there, and the ring is the direct object. I cook for you. You is the indirect object, and the direct object doesn't exist in that sentence, but it is implied. Something is being cooked, so we assume it's some food, or maybe it's lunch. So direct object can be implied. He writes to his grandpa. Again, direct object is implied. His grandpa is the indirect object. The chef cooks for his friends. What is he cooking? That's the direct object. We don't know, but his friends are the indirect object. And here we had to insert the correct indirect object pronoun. Carlos buys a present for me. The present is the direct object. Me is the indirect, so Carlos me compra un regalo. Manuel reads the book to Susie. Susie is the indirect object. So Manuel lee el libro. Jorge escribe una carta a Carlos. Jorge le escribe una carta. Carlos is the indirect object. I think number 2 is wrong, isn't it? It should be Manuel Leo. He reads. Yeah, he reads.
Manuel reads.
Leo is I read, isn't it?
Present tense.
Oh no, it is. Yeah, it's right, isn't it? I read. Yeah. Sorry, head's going this week.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a nightmare in morning class. I couldn't remember anything. Couldn't remember any words or what gender nouns were. I was having a complete brain fog. And it's going on this afternoon as well, clearly.
Eric,
Yes.
if Susie is feminine, isn't that well la?
No.
It would be if she was the
No.
direct object, but
No, she's not the object.
She's the indirect object.
Where's she gone then? Where's Susie gone?
Lay.
Le.
Right.
Lay, but that's
Yes.
masculine.
Means
No.
to her.
No, it's
All right, to her.
it's-
Okay.
It's gender neutral in
Yes.
the indirect object, annoyingly, which is
I
why
get
they often put the object, actually name the indirect object as well.
Okay. Okay, la.
So if they didn't mention who he's reading to earlier on, then you'd have to add Susie at the end, would you?
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You only do it if it's not implied before. Is that right?
I think the Spanish do it anyway. You know, this is the problem. I think they would say Manuel lee el libro a Susie. I think that's what they'd say in most sentences, which is what causes us a lot of confusion from time to time. That they put the indirect object in, even though the indirect object is named. They put the pronoun in as well.
I listened
So-
to a video by that gringo guy earlier, and that was about this. And he said basically it isn't like a rule. The way that he thinks of it is it's got to tally on both sides of the verb. So if you've got it on one side, you've got to have it on the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I always thought it's only if it hasn't been implied before that you have to edit. But according to him, you have to put it in whenever.
Yeah, but he hasn't put it in over this side, has he? Which I don't. Maybe he's just doing that because he wants us.
That's
to,
why this was confusing me, because here it's not edit on. So
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, and obviously we have that in all of these sentences. Jorge escribe una carta a Carlos. Jorge le escribe una carta. Él sirve la comida a Ana. Él le sirve la comida. Where it's to us, it's a bit more obvious. We don't need to worry about he or she. Envío una carta a nosotros. Nos envío una carta. So that's that. That was the homework from the Spanish guy. We also had a video to watch where there were various Spanish people interviewed in, I think they were in Barcelona, and she wasn't it, was asking them what they thought, foreign people thought about Spaniards. Most of them thought foreigners had a pretty glum view of Spaniards, which I thought was surprising. Among the things they pointed out were low education, not very responsible. Spaniards were layabouts. That seemed to be mainly because of the siesta. They drank a lot. Sangria was mentioned, and they were over dramatic.
Oh no, they're not.
So they didn't agree with what they thought the foreigners' view was of Spaniards, and they were also asked to name an object that represented Spain, and there were some unusual choices. These were the three that stuck out to me. Potato omelette. I remember that that book that we had last year about the potato omelette competition. What was that? Un hombre fascinante, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A ham. Yeah, we do imagine the Spaniards with a big ham of boar. What is Serrano ham? Pata negra, and Rioja. So three nice things to represent Spain, and items that represented their region. Snails in Spanish, los caracoles. I didn't know the Spanish ate snails, actually. I guess this is one of those Spanish regions a bit close to France. They may be sneaked over the border. The snail eaters, that is, not the snails. I'm sure they were there already, or too slow to get across anyway. And the other one was bread and tomato. That brought back some memories for me, because I went to Spain with my son 10 or 15 years ago. We went to watch the Catalonia Grand Prix, motorcycle Grand Prix, and we got there nice and early, being good fans, and all the Spaniards were there. And they got little barbecues set up at the front of the stand, and they were taking their bread down and putting it on the barbecue to toast it, and then they'd take it off, and when it got cold, they'd rub it with a tomato. No, they'd rub it with a garlic clove to start with, then rub it with a tomato, then pour olive oil on it, and then eat it. And we thought we've got to try this, so we had some for dinner that evening as a starter. It's quite nice, actually.
I'll tell you what I remember, Eric.
What's that, Tony?
Gazpacho Andaluz.
Oh yeah, cold soup.
Cool stuff.
Could you take this back? It's cold. Winter, our soup's cold.
In our family, if we recall something about our holiday in Spain, it's many years ago now, of course, when the lads were young, it was Gazpacho Andaluz.
Yeah. It's rather nice, isn't it? Yeah. Do you like it?
No.
You don't like it? No.
That's right. It's a sort of negative memory.
Oh, right. Cold tomato soup. Well, it's not like Heinz soup cold, is it? It's a bit spicy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's interesting. Sorry.
Sorry,
it was interesting. Nobody mentioned bullfighting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's dying a death, isn't it? Bullfighting.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be, you know, when the Brits first started going to Spain, they'd all have to go to the bullfight. Some of them thought it was all right. Some of them thought were appalled. I think most Spaniards are appalled now. They've decided it's not great.
They have one yearly in the village near us, but it's not a proper one. They put up this sort of metal ring with paintings on it, like an entrance and a booking office, all painted on the outside, and they just have the young steers, and they sometimes get out and run around the street, so it's not very dangerous, I don't think.
In Ecuador, there is a large bull ring in Quito, but they don't have bullfights there anymore. They've completely gone off the idea of bullfighting in Ecuador. It's a hangover from the colonial days, and I think they're glad to get rid of it. But they do. When Tom was in the Highlands in Santo Domingo, the little township where he was, where his wife was doing her anthropological studies, every year they have a sort of bull festival, and they have the bull loose in the square in the middle of the village, and the men sort of jump down and chase the bull a bit, and as soon as the bull turns around and chases them, they scarper back over the fence as fast as they can, and it's a sort of it's a game of dare for drunken idiots. So of course my son was there. There is some video of him not getting too close to the bull, but I think that's as close as they get to bullfighting in Ecuador now. Good thing too, really. There's
Come on.
although if I was a bull, I might quite like the opportunity to get my own back on somebody before I ended up as a hamburguesa. Who knows? Okay, now we are on Spanish dict now, and we were looking at the passive and impersonal se. And I thought we sort of covered a bit of this. Oh, my dog's come in to say hello. You go in your basket. Go in your basket there. We did sort of look at this last week, and I thought it might be useful just to go through it in a little bit more detail. So the impersonal se, we've seen these rather a lot during our Spanish journey so far. It's a way of making reference to people in general, and it's used to make general statements or questions, in particular to, you know, whether you can do something, or to talk about rules, or what the general consensus is on something. It's also helpful for asking directions or finding out how to say things properly, asking what the rules are, and so forth. And some examples here. Se vive a gusto en Merida. Life is good in Merida. You eat well at the beach. Se come bien en la playa. One sleeps better with a clear conscience. Se duerme mejor con la conciencia tranquila. Busco el museo. I'm looking for the museum. Se está cerca. Is it nearby? And impersonal se constructions are formed by using se plus third person singular verb. So that's how it's done. And we do see these quite often, and we've probably used them quite often. I know I say from time to time, se puede, can one do something? Se puede, ... whatever it is. I don't smoke, but se puede fumar, can one smoke? The passive say. So the passive voice is used to talk about something that happened to an object without saying who or what carried out the action. And transitive verbs used with a passive say. The first question is, what's a transitive verb? Apparently it's a verb that makes sense only if it acts on a direct object. It's pretty obvious when you look at it. In Spanish, it's very common to use the passive say to talk about inanimate nouns. It's not common to refer to people or animals using the passive say. So things, not people or animals. Examples. The cake was eaten. Se comió la torta. The book was written in Spanish. Se escribió el libro en español. Kayaks are rented here. Se alquilan kayaks aquí. Bilingual actors wanted. Se buscan actores bilingües. So I think they were fairly obvious, fairly easy to work out. Now you do see examples of that
Eric,
quite frequently.
Eric,
Yes, Ken? Yep.
could you go back one, please? Can you go
So
back one?
Again, yeah.
No, sorry, to the book, writing the book. Yeah, I mean, could you construct that totally differently? You know, like el libro escribe en español. Would that be? That would be understood, surely, would it?
Well, the book was written in Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you could actually not use se, surely. Could you not, and just say the book el libro escribo en español?
Yeah.
For example.
That's an English way of doing it, isn't it?
Ah, I see. Okay, I've got it.
I think the Spanish would say it like this.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I just need to understand why.
I mean, we could say we would say the book was written in Spanish.
Yes.
Ken, the way you said it, you were saying the book writes in Spanish. That it's the book that was doing the writing.
Yes, yes, I understand.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
Eric,
yeah, got it.
You see in a lot of houses, you see the sign "Se vende."
Se vende, yeah.
But is that still a passive say, because it hasn't got a subject. I know the subject is pretty obvious because they're stuck on a house, but it hasn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually say.
It's an implied it's an implied subject, isn't it? I guess.
So it would be passive still.
Well, I would say yes, it is, because you would assume that there's a subject in there, although it's not written down.
And there's someone going to sell it somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, strictly speaking, it's not a transitive verb because there's no noun to act, to act on. But it's, yeah. I think it's a bit of Spanish. I would say that looks like a bit of Spanish shorthand to me. We'd say on sale, for sale.
Isn't it again that we're saying the house is being sold, not that the house is selling? If you say venden, you're saying the house sells. But if you say se venden, you say the house is being sold.
Se vende, se vende.
Se vende, yeah.
Se vende.
The house is being sold. Whereas if you miss out the se, you're saying the house is selling.
Yeah, it's se vende.
Yeah. I think what Bryn's saying, Apple, is that it's not whether we leave the set out in that case. It's that the house, the casa, isn't mentioned.
Yeah, there's no noun. Yeah.
So there's no noun in the. It just says se vende on the sign outside. So
if I may interrupt, Eric, you see, if one is not all that good at Spanish and composing in this way, one would tend to break it up. One might, if you were speaking to someone and not being very good at it, you could say, el libro escribió en español.
Yes.
Couldn't you? You could break it up into two parts.
Yes, you.
So that if you're a novice and you're not too sure, the first thing to do is to draw one's attention to the object and then say what you want about it.
Yeah.
That would be my personal approach, actually.
Yeah, I can understand why you would do that, but I think Apple's point was that if you said el libro escribió en español, you would say the book wrote in Spanish.
No, I understand. No,
yeah.
I understand your construction there. Absolutely. I was just saying that, to me, in a colloquial sense, I'd break it up. I'd feel that I wanted to break it up that way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can, if you just draw attention to the object, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you'd be understood because a book writing itself in Spanish would be a strange thing. So the Spanish would work it out. I think what's difficult with these sentences is that, you know, we're learning Spanish for an hour a week, and we're speaking, practicing it, and reading it a little bit for longer than that. But if you're hearing Spanish all the time and you're hearing sentences constructed like this all the time, it becomes second nature to you, and you just know that that's how the construction works. And it's a lot harder trying to break it down, deconstruct it, and reconstruct it, because we're still at that stage we were talking about last week where we do tend to think in English, then translate to Spanish, or read in Spanish, translate back into English. And we've got to reach that stage where we think and speak in Spanish rather than bringing English in and translating. Suzanne did tell us that as a native German speaker, it took her some years to stop translating from German to English, but she does read and think in English now, which gives hope to us all. But it may take us a bit longer. It might take us a bit longer than it took Suzanne.
I remember the first time I watched a film on my husband or then boyfriend brought his telly along and we could watch Forces television. So I watched a film and I got the broad gist of what the film was about, and I was as proud as anything. After quite a few years of, I don't know how many lessons of English at school.
Yeah, well, they do say the best way to learn a foreign language is to get a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, husband or wife, who speaks Spanish.
Is that the homework this week?
Yes, the homework. Find a native speaker and marry her. Yes, in a week, Bryn.
Well,
yeah, it's not practical for most of us, is it?
Not at the moment, no.
No, we didn't. No, especially not at the moment. No. So there were a couple of constructions there. We say se vende caro usado, used car for sale, or se venden carros usados. And I think what Bryn saw was a bit of Spanish shorthand where they just said se vende, in other words, for sale. And because it's banged into the road in front of the house, you assume it's the house. If it was stuck on a car, I guess you'd assume it was a car. And we had we did use some examples of the passive voice, the passive se, in our sentences last week. Mi carro se dañó and mi teléfono se dañó. So that's homework. So we've got a book on the shelf now. Normally, when I get up from my computer screen, I forget I'm wearing headphones and get halfway across the room and then get jerked back. So I managed to remember. So we have our book, Crimen en Barcelona, and I think we're up to chapter. We did chapter 25, 26, didn't we? So we've been going through what we've had: fashion designer girlfriends, cosmetic surgery, bad-tempered executives. Now finally, Aldo seemed to remember that his dad's been killed, and he's quite keen to find out what happened, who's responsible. So he's decided that a financial incentive should help the investigators to up their game. They've been a bit slow off the mark. And then in chapter 26, we were back to the goings on in Aleres Elines. So shall we read chapter 26 now? I'm doing my normal thing and going to the bottom of the screen, and I think we had Linda and Shanta last week, didn't we? Reading. So and I think Jane was doing some work last week. Now I can't remember Mangala. I'm trying to be fair here because I know you start complaining if you get asked too often. So I don't remember Mangala. You've not read for a while, have you, Mangala?
Shall I read?
Would you like to?
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
Which chapter? 26?
So would you do chapter 26, and would you do the halfway down that first page?
No. I'll start in the right in the beginning. Capítulo 26. Aunque Felipe ya no está. Can you hear me?
Yes, fine.
Yeah. Aunque Felipe ya no está, Alares Airlines sigue funcionando como siempre. Desde que Aldo es el CEO temporal de la empresa, todo marcha bastante bien. Los empleados están muy contentos con su nuevo jefe. Todos excepto uno, Enrique. A Enrique no le hace mucha gracia haber perdido su poder en la empresa. Durante las últimas semanas, no hizo más que entorpecer el funcionamiento de la compañía. Llegué tarde a la oficina y no va a ninguna reunión. A veces ni siquiera responde los llamadas y emails.
Muy bien. Thanks very much, Mangala.
Yeah,
That's
thank
great.
you.
Rhoda, would you feel like doing the translation for us? Were you able to go through the translation this week? Did you manage to get it translated okay? I can see your lips moving, but I think you're still on mute.
Oops, sorry. Okay, yeah, okay.
It's easily done.
Right. Even though Felipe is no longer here, LS Airlines is still working as usual. Since Alaudo is the temporary CEO of the company, everything is going pretty well. The employees are very content with their new boss, all except one, Enrique. Enrique does not like losing his power in the company. Over the last few weeks, he doesn't help the functioning of the company. He's late for the office and not going to any meetings. Sometimes he doesn't answer his calls or emails.
Yeah, excellent.
It's calls as in telephone calls.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can llamar por teléfono. Absolutely. So well done. Let's go up a bit. We've got next one in my rogues gallery is Sue Gockel. Are you okay to read for us, Sue? Is that all right? You are on mute at the moment, so I can see your lips moving.
Okay, yeah, I can never find the cursor.
No,
Enrique sigue haciendo su trabajo como siempre, pero lo hace mal. Integro informes incompletos o fuera de fecha. En los últimos días, la empresa perdió varios miles de euros por su culpa, pero a él no le importa en la más mínimo. Lo único que está buscando es llamar la atención de los gerentes y directores. Quiero que alguien le devolva el poder que él le quitó Aldo. Como era la mano derecha de Felipe, creo que es él quien debe ocupar el puesto de CEO. Pero nada quiere si el quien está a cargo de la campaña. Por eso, al día siguiente, Aldo no llama por teléfono.
good. Well done, Sue. Can I just say a couple of things? There were a couple of mistakes in there.
Oh yeah, quite. Yeah, I know there would be.
Where it's a G and a U together before an E or an I, an E or an E in Spanish. the U isn't pronounced, it just hardens the G. And normally if you'd get a GE, it would be a he sound, or GI be he sound, like girasol or gente. But because they want that hard G sound, sige, you put a U there, and the U just tells you that it's the U isn't to be pronounced, it just hardens the G.
Sige.
So it's
Sige.
sige and siguiente. So that's a hard sound. The exception is when you would have a hard G, so G and an A. The Spanish would sound g, and so the U there, like agua for water, the U is sounded if it comes before an A. It gets a little bit complicated, that rule. The other thing is, if it has the two dots over the top, you do sound it. So cigüeña, which is stork, you do sound the U. It has those two little dots over the top, so that's easier to remember. So good, well done. Next up was Paul. Paul Quick. Would you do the translation for us, Paul? Is that okay? Have you managed to get hold of the book? You're on mute as that's it.
Yes. Yeah, I've got the book.
Right.
The words there I'm not sure of, but we'll go. Enrique continued doing his work as usual, but he didn't do it well. He enters or submits incomplete or out-of-date forms. In the last few days, the business lost some thousands of euros through his fault, but it didn't bother him in the least. The only thing that he was looking to do is call attention. I'm not sure about this bit. The only thing he was looking to do is call attention of the managers and directors.
Yeah, to get the attention.
Get the attention of,
yeah,
yes, sorry.
Yeah.
He was looking, well, he wanted someone to give him back the power that he lost to Aldo. As the right-hand man of Felipe, he believes that he is the one who should occupy the position of CEO. But no one asks, no, I'm sorry, I'm not sure about this sentence at all.
Yeah, but
no one asks that he should be the one to take charge of the company.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody wants.
The following day, Aldo calls him on the telephone.
Yep, good. I don't think that telephone conversation is going to go very well somehow. Thank you, Paul. That's great. So we're something's going to happen with this crime sometime soon. Somebody's going to be held responsible. I thought there were one or two useful words in here. The great thing about reading a Spanish book is that you do get some new phrases. The trouble is that it's quite hard to remember them, and you really have to put them in context to get them into your head. So, me imaginaba, I thought so. Good. Me imaginaba. ¿Qué te parece? What do you think? Me parece bien. Sounds good to me. Or seems good to me. These next three are sort of Spanish idioms, I guess. Haremos lo posible. We will do our best. Haré lo posible. I will do my best. Lo antes posible. I'll tell you what's happened here as well. Word has auto-corrected my Spanish into English. There's only one S in posible, not two. So that's my computer. Word's great. It sticks in accents when you can't be bothered to do so, but occasionally it gets confused between English and Spanish if I'm using both in the same page. So what it's done there, it's stuck an extra S in possible, but of course it's posible and it only has one S. A él no le importa en lo más mínimo. He doesn't care in the least. That's a lot of words, isn't it? I mean, it's a lot of words in English, but it does sound a lot of little words in Spanish. A él no le importa en lo más mínimo. And I'm sure we've got an indirect object pronoun in there somewhere.
Le.
Le. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brent.
You're welcome.
Bloody pronouns, I don't know. How are we doing for time? I think we've got time. Yeah, we've got 10 minutes or so. So let's look at our second book, and let's go on to that. So we're on to chapter 15, La llave, the key. Lorenzo tells Alicia to tell you always cuenta a. So it's got needs an a. So Lorenzo tells Alicia and Nuria all about the theft in order to help recover the stolen drawings, and we're going to need five. We're going to need three actors to do it. Tony, would you be Lorenzo Reyes? You look like well, we should have Bryn. Bryn's got a fine collection of art on his wall that he daren't show us. But we'll choose Tony. And Jane, would you be Alicia? And Apple, would you be what's the other one called? Nuria. Would you be Nuria? I don't think you've got a big role this week. Nuria seems to be out of it a bit. Okay.
Donde guarda su colección de arte?
Oops, Tony, I think, Tony, you're on mute still. We could see your mouth going 19 to the dozen.
Jimmy Durante, sitting at my piano. En el segundo piso, en un gran habitación. Y vamos arriba.
¿Esta habitación tiene llave?
Sí, claro.
¿Quiénes tienen una llave de la habitación?
Yo tengo la llave, nadie más.
¿Dónde guarda la llave?
Aquí, en esta cadena de oro que siempre llevo alrededor de mi cuello.
Wow, es una habitación increíble. ¿Cuántas pinturas?
¿Le gusta mucho el arte, señores?
Sí, más que nada en el mundo. El arte es mi vida. Amo mi colección y estoy muy triste porque ahora está incompleta.
Good, excellent. Thank you, guys. I noticed a couple of things that I thought were a bit odd here. A gran habitación is a great room. I thought, great room? It sounds like a big room to me, but not a great room. I would probably have said habitación grande. One means great, the other means large. So it's maybe I don't quite haven't quite understood the distinction in Spanish, but
it might be great as in impressive because of the artwork.
Yeah, could be, couldn't it? Impressive room, yeah, could be, yeah, good point. Wow, she said wow. Now I've never seen wow written as wow in Spanish before. They normally do it with the GU. Wow. Sounds like wow, doesn't it? So I don't suppose it matters very much. I've never seen wow written as wow. And Alicia says to señores, le gusta mucho el arte, señores. It's interesting that she and Nuria have been addressed in the informal since they rang his doorbell. They've been invited upstairs to see his art collection, but she's still addressing him in the formal señores. I guess he's not yet said call me Lorenzo, so she's got no choice but to call him señores.
Eric, isn't it obvious that he's trying it on to go and see his etchings, and she's saying no, sir, as keep your distance?
Well, it could be that. I hadn't read that into it, Ken. But it could be.
Tells plenty about Ken, eh?
I did think that that pair were a bit forward, going across and knocking on his door. But you know, that's there you go. That's there. So I think we're just about come to the end of our hour on the psychiatrist's couch this week. There's just one video this week. It's from the Easy Spanish series. I quite like these actually because they're done by Spaniards and it's in Spanish. They do put subtitles. What's the word? Subtitles there, so it's quite easy for us to follow it. But do try to listen to the Spanish, and this is about some common mistakes. Some of these are, we'll know these. We'll be way past this stage, most of us, all of us. But there are one or two on there that I thought, that sounds a bit like me. That link is on the notes that I sent round earlier, and let's go through that for our homework this week. See how we get on. Okay. Anybody any questions about this week's lesson?
Eric, what's your intention about Google Classroom? You put out a note last week.
Yeah.
You want to move it on? Or?
I put it. I was trying it out to see whether it would be a good way to improve vocabulary, and I thought the basic class are at a stage where they're learning lots and lots of nouns. We did groceries the other week. We did clothes this week. Next week, the week after, we'll be going on to body parts, and so there's lots of nouns for them to learn. I thought, oh, this might be quite a nice way of doing it and reinforcing it, because if you've got just a list there, it's quite tricky to do. And I thought I'd offer it to the Spanish Plus class as well, in case you wanted to go through it. I think at the moment a lot of it's just going to be a bit too easy for you. But when I come to lists like that, it almost invariably I find one or two words that I've just forgotten, especially this week. I can't remember where I live this week. I'm having a nightmare. I think I'm going gaga in my old age. So I thought it might be useful. More than welcome to join it and have a look. And I know a lot of you have. I know a lot of you have completed the exercises. If you find it useful, then stick with it. I'll be putting a few up on there. Not too many. I think it's I put about 3 up this week. That's really just to try it out. So I might put 1 a week up maybe. And you're welcome to do it. If it's useful, then stick with it. If not, then don't bother.
Yes, please. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So nice to have you on there. I think 1 or 2 people had found it a bit tricky connecting up. Somebody. Oh, it was Linda, wasn't it? Linda, you were having trouble.
It was me as well.
Oh, have you managed to do it, Suzanne, or not?
No, I tried it again a bit later. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, I tried. I couldn't get on either. So.
I
haven't tried to download it or whatever you do.
Yeah, it should just be a question if you've got a Google account.
No, I haven't. It said I hadn't got one. So.
That's the issue, Eric. You have to create a Google account, which is very easy through online.
Yeah, you just.
But I have one, and I still couldn't get through, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Same here. I have a Google account. It even selected the account.
Yeah. It should be dead easy with a Google account.
Yeah, it came on my other email. I have another email address. It came onto that.
I think the issue might be the Spanish Dict link. Sometimes it's a bit more complicated because Google is trying to link up with Spanish Dict, and if you don't have a Spanish Dict account as well, then it tries to set you up the process of Spanish Dict takes you into a different place to make you create an account, which is nothing to do with the classroom. So it's not the classroom you're having a problem with. I think it's the Spanish Dict part of it.
Yeah, when I did get into it, it got me onto like learning stuff, etc. But it wasn't the classroom bit. That's true.
It's because Spanish Dict is trying to sell you something and to get you to sign up for their emails and their class. You sort of almost have to quit out of it and come back to it and then reload it up with Google. But as long as it's got the link to Spanish Dict, you're right. But they're trying to use it to sign you up for their stuff as well.
I just kept going round in circles.
That's it. That's the problem. That's Spanish Dict. It's not Google.
Right. Okay. So you think, Carl, your advice is to have a Spanish Dict account?
If you've already got one, the first time I did something with it, Spanish Dict made me sign up, and it signed me up for the emails. It signed me up for everything, and then you then go and unsign yourself if you don't want it. But if you've already got a Spanish Dict account and you're doing Google, it seems to sort of be more smooth. But if you haven't, you just follow the link through and just persevere with it. But Spanish Dict throws you a few things out, just accept them all. And then you eventually come back to the Google account. But it might be then you just have to come out of it, go back in, and then it should all be there.
I was ready to chuck my laptop.
Yeah. But and each time you go in, the second time you go in, it's a lot smoother because it's all linked up then. The link's been done. And then it's just one push button to go straight to the lesson.
Right. It sounds a bit of a nightmare, that. Mine just clicked together perfectly well, but I must have had the planets aligned.
At least I feel better that I'm not the only one and that it's not me, because I thought I was doing something wrong.
Okay.
If you persevere, it gets there.
If you're still having trouble, give Carl a ring and he'll pop round in his mask.
in 3 months when we're unlocked.
In 3 months, yeah.
I'll bring it along to class if we ever meet up again.
Oh, we will. One day we will. I don't know. I'd love that.
September onwards. The next year we'll be fine. September onwards.
Yeah, I think that's probably our best hope. Yeah.
Oh, Eric, are we going to have a half term? Everybody's at home, but I would really love a week off at some time.
Yeah, I think we will, but it's It's the week after next, isn't it? Half term.
I don't
I
know
think-
because I haven't
Yeah.
got kids. All I know is
All
it's
right.
sometime in February.
Yeah, so it's the week after next. Yeah, we could probably do with a break. We had a break.
Yeah, you could do with a week off because you're the one doing all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's on his own.
I just if I have a week off, I don't do anything, and then it's just like being back at school and the school holidays. You know, you realise 2 days before you're due back at school, you've not done any of your homework, and you're very miserable. 2 days trying to get everything done.
I said the dog has to do more Spanish if he has a week off.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she's just gone to sleep. That's what she does. I know a lot of you go to sleep as well. But, only joking. Right. Well, thank you very much. Well done, everybody. I think we're gradually getting the gist of pronouns. It's been a bit of a committee effort, so thank you for your contributions.
It's a pain, but when you read a book, I tend to understand it better because it used to confuse me while it's double, etc. I've gone over it, even though I hate it, and I still don't understand it properly. At least it makes more sense when I read the story.
Yes, same here, because it's because you didn't know how to translate it, because there's too many, we get tied up with the too many hers and she's and thems and its.
Yeah, it doesn't fit, does it?
You didn't know who was doing what to who, but now you get it links up.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, I feel we might be making progress. That's a dangerous thing to say.
Thank you, Eric.
Ciao. Ciao. Ciao a todos. Ciao.
Bye.
Cheers,
Ciao.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.